Welcome to the deep dive. This is where we really try to cut through all the noise and give you the clearest path to understanding complex topics quickly.
Hmm.
You've given us a whole stack of research today, all focused on one, well, pretty powerful idea.
That's right.
We're tackling emotional intelligence.
Or EI.
Yep, EI. And for those of you really focused on getting knowledge fast, this is, well, it's a deep dive with a potentially huge return on investment.
Yeah.
The core question in all this data we looked at is pretty direct.
Yeah.
What really drives outstanding performance?
And leadership.
Right. What's the secret sauce? Kind of. We're basically unpacking the argument that, okay, cognitive ability, your IQ, that might get your foot in the door.
The entry ticket.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But EI, emotional intelligence, that seems to be the non-negotiable factor. It determines if you really soar or if you just kind of stall out.
That tension, IQ versus EI, that feels like the heart of it.
It really is.
So our mission today really is to figure out why EI is often called this uniquely human ability.
And why developing it seems so critical right now, with AI and all the tech changes happening.
Absolutely.
And crucially, how we can break down its, 4 core parts into skills people can actually work on.
And that's the key bit, isn't it? That last part. Because we're defining EI based on these sources, not as some, vague personality thing you either have or you don't.
Right.
But specifically as a learned set of personal skills. Skills that anyone, really, at any stage, can actually pick up and improve.
Okay, I like that framing. Learn skills. So let's start right there. If it's like a skill tree in a game, what are the 4 main abilities? What defines EI in the studies we looked at?
Well, the researchers, they define them pretty systematically. Often they group them into 2 pairs. You've got the personal ones and then the social ones.
Okay, internal first.
Internal first, exactly.
Okay.
First 2 focus inward. So number 1, self-awareness.
Self-awareness.
This is really fundamental. It's the ability to recognize and understand your own moods, your emotions, your drives, and importantly, how they affect other people.
Yeah.
It's like knowing your own internal weather report, you could say.
Okay, so it's that internal radar, knowing why you're feeling frustrated maybe, or why you're excited about something.
Yes.
But just knowing, that's only half of it, isn't it? What's the second part? The more active internal skill.
Well, that leads right into self-management. This is the action part. It's what you do with that awareness you have. It involves, handling your impulses, keeping up standards of honesty, integrity,
Right.
being adaptable when things change, and being, well, really disciplined about achieving your goals.
So give me an example.
Okay. Say you're self-aware enough to know you absolutely hate sudden deadline changes. They just stress you out.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
Right. Well, self-management is then choosing how you respond to that stressor professionally, instead of just instinctively reacting, maybe snapping at someone.
Okay, so if self-awareness is knowing you're, boiling mad about some terrible decision, self-management is maybe not hitting send on that furious email draft you just typed out.
Exactly.
Maybe hitting save, walking away for 5 minutes.
Precisely. That's self-management in action. Okay, so those are the internal ones. Now, moving outward, we get to the social competencies.
Right, how we deal with others.
Starting with social awareness. And the studies we looked at, they're pretty clear this component is fundamentally about empathy.
Empathy, understanding other people's feelings.
Understanding the emotional makeup of other people, yeah. But it's a bit more than just sensing an emotion. It's like passive observation combined with active interpretation.
How so?
It means really reading the room, understanding the group dynamics, not just one person, and picking up on those unspoken cues, from the culture, the environment.
That feels like a really important distinction. So social awareness isn't just seeing a colleague looks, defeated.
Right.
It's maybe understanding why they feel defeated. Maybe it stems from some issue in the process, not just like a personal failing.
Yeah.
Seeing the system through their eyes almost.
Absolutely. You've got it. And then the final piece, the kind of capstone for the whole EI model, is relationship management.
Right. Putting it all together.
This is where all those first 3 skills really combine and pay off. It's using your self-control, your emotional clarity from self-awareness, and your empathy for others to actually build better connections, to influence tricky situations, manage conflict effectively, and foster change when it's needed.
Okay, so it starts inside, knowing yourself, then moves outward to understanding others, and finally to actively, positively influencing the environment and relationships.
That's the flow.
Breaking it down like that, it really does make it sound more like something you can practice, not just, an innate talent you're born with.
And that's what the research really emphasizes, how these 4 skills, working together, differentiate people, especially in a professional setting.
Which brings us nicely to that critical point, the aha moment, maybe.
Okay, about
IQ versus EI in someone's career. Because you hear it all the time. If someone's brilliant, top tier degree, super high IQ, aren't they just destined to lead? Does EI even matter then?
Well, the data we reviewed pretty emphatically challenges that idea.
Oh, interesting.
The studies consistently state that cognitive ability, your IQ, it determines career entry.
Okay.
It gets you the degree, helps you pass the technical tests, lands you the first job, it gets you in the door, like we said. It establishes your baseline competence.
Okay. But once you are inside,
Yeah.
and you're surrounded by other really smart people who also pass that IQ threshold.
That's exactly where the difference shows up. The deep analysis in these sources shows that for outstanding performance,
Right.
especially as you move up, senior levels, executive roles, emotional intelligence is, well, overwhelmingly crucial.
Overwhelmingly.
Yeah. We're talking about the difference between someone who's, technically a great individual contributor and someone who truly excels at managing complex situations, motivating teams, sometimes dozens or hundreds of people.
Right.
The sources suggest that the vast majority, like a huge chunk of the performance difference among top performers, isn't explained by technical skill or IQ anymore. It's EI.
So IQ is the entry ticket, but EI is the performance multiplier. It's the tool you use to navigate the messiness of human organizations.
That's a great way to put it.
But I do have a clarifying question here. Is the research saying IQ and EI are totally separate? Because surely, a high IQ could help you recognize complex social patterns, which sounds like it would feed into empathy, right?
That's a really insightful question. And the answer is a bit nuanced.
Okay.
The researchers aren't really arguing they're wholly separate entities, no, but they seem to function as different drivers.
Drivers.
Yeah, so a high IQ might give you the raw capacity to learn complex social rules faster, maybe understand them intellectually.
Right.
But EI is more like the engine. It provides the motivation, maybe, and definitely the discipline, that self-management piece again, to actually apply those rules effectively, especially when things get tough, when you're stressed or tired or under pressure.
Got it. So IQ gives you the map, but EI ensures you actually stick to the road even when the driving conditions are awful.
That's a perfect analogy, yes.
That makes a lot more sense. Okay, let's pivot slightly. Let's bring this into, right now, the modern context.
Okay.
If top leadership really relies on this emotional mastery, how secure is that? Especially in a world where AI is getting incredibly good at, other cognitive tasks. Does EI still hold up?
This is maybe one of the most significant findings for anyone thinking about their career long term.
Really?
Yeah. The data we looked at focuses really heavily on this idea that EI is a uniquely human ability.
Uniquely human.
Right. As AI takes over more data processing, complex analysis, even, writing sophisticated reports or code, the relative value of just pure technical competence, the stuff that kind of mirrors IQ tasks, it seems likely to, diminish somewhat.
Okay, so what specifically is it about, say, reading a tense meeting room or handling a conflict between two team members?
Yeah.
What is it that AI just can't replicate?
Well, because EI isn't just about recognizing patterns in data.
Okay.
AI can process huge data sets on human behavior, sure. It might even predict likely responses. But it can't authentically share an emotional state or modulate its own presentation based on genuine feeling to build real relationships.
The authenticity piece.
Exactly. Emotional intelligence deals with ambiguity, with nuance, and crucially, with the often, frankly, irrational nature of human motivation.
Right. Humans aren't always logical.
Not at all. So a machine might predict how a team should logically react to bad news. But a leader with high EI, they have a much better sense of how the team will actually feel. And more importantly, they know how to frame that news, how to deliver it to mitigate the negative impact and keep people motivated.
That's the difference between prediction and actual influence, isn't it?
Precisely.
So what you're saying is developing your EI isn't just about being a better leader today.
Yeah.
It's also about making sure your core skills are kind of future-proof.
Yeah.
Because they rely on genuine human interaction, those messy, unpredictable social dynamics.
That's definitely the implication coming from these sources, yes. It potentially secures your long-term value against, the wave of automation.
Okay.
And speaking of development, that brings us to what might be the most optimistic part of all this research,
Which is?
the learnability of EI. We generally understand that IQ, well, it's relatively stable after your early 20s, right?
Yeah, mostly fixed is the common wisdom.
Right. So the question is EI like that too? Is it fixed? Or is it genuinely something you can change?
This feels like the moment of truth for anyone listening who's thinking, okay, maybe I could be better at this.
And the research comes back pretty clearly, even emphatically on this one.
Okay.
Unlike IQ, emotional intelligence is learnable at any stage of life.
Really? Any stage?
That's what the studies indicate. It's not some genetic destiny. It's framed much more like a muscle.
A muscle.
Yeah, something that gets stronger with intentional practice, getting feedback, making a real commitment to improve.
Wow.
Which means this isn't just, describing successful people. It's actionable knowledge.
That is fantastic news, seriously, because it shifts the whole conversation, doesn't it? It's not just about hiring people who already have high EI. Right. It's about developing the people you already have, or developing yourself.
Exactly.
Okay, let's get really practical then about the impact. If a leader actually commits to this, they work on boosting their EI. Let's say they get better at relationship management. What does the research show happens? What's the tangible payoff for their team, their organization?
Well, the studies focus heavily on the direct and pretty undeniable impact of the leader's emotions. They suggest it almost functions like a contagious force.
Contagious? How so?
It stresses that the leader's emotional state, are they generally calm, anxious, focused, optimistic? That state has a profound impact on their team's performance, their morale. Even some studies suggest down to things like their stress levels, their biochemistry. You apparently can't easily separate how the leader feels from how the team functions day to day.
I can definitely connect that to, real world experience. We've all seen it. A leader who's constantly frantic or emotionally volatile. Yeah. It creates this environment of just high anxiety, right? Low psychological safety. People are afraid to speak up.
Exactly. And conversely, the research shows that high EI in leadership actively fosters a much better working environment.
In what ways?
Well, the studies point out that teams led by high EI individuals didn't just, meet their targets more often.
Okay.
They also reported higher levels of personal fulfillment in their work, much lower turnover rates people stuck around.
That's huge for businesses.
Huge. And greater resilience. When they face setbacks, they bounce back better. The studies often describe this positive leader state, that calm, empathetic focus, as being genuinely contagious, spreading through the team.
Leading to a workplace culture that's just fundamentally more collaborative, maybe?
That's the idea. More collaborative, more positive, ultimately more effective.
The ripple effect seems really clear then. It goes way beyond just internal team feelings. It actually influences organizational stability, business outcomes. This whole synthesis really drives home that argument, doesn't it? That EI is about applying very human skills connections, self-control, to get superior results.
Yeah, I think if we were to synthesize the major takeaways for you, for everyone listening.
Okay, let's recap.
First, emotional intelligence really seems to be the key differentiator for outstanding professional performance, especially at senior levels. Its impact appears to far exceed IQ once you're past that entry point.
Got it. Differentiator.
Second, it's described as uniquely human. It deals with ambiguity, motivation, empathy. Things machines aren't poised to replicate authentically anytime soon. Yeah. That makes it highly relevant, resilient going forward.
Okay. Human and future-proof.
And maybe most critically, number 3. It's a skill set, not a fixed trait. It can be developed, it can be improved with intention. Doesn't matter how old you are or where you are in your career.
That is profoundly actionable knowledge, like you said, because if we know that just investing purely in technical skills, well, that might see diminishing returns as AI keeps advancing.
Right.
Then the investment really needs to shift, doesn't it, towards these essential human skills. So what should you, the listener, take away about how you allocate your own learning time, your effort? Well, since the research really hammers home that EI is learnable at any stage, and that a leader's emotional state has this profound, contagious impact on team success, here's something maybe to ponder this week. If the return on investment for EI is really that high, how much time should we as learners, as professionals, how much time should we actually dedicate to deliberately developing self-awareness and self-management, those foundational internal skills?
Right.
Compared to the time we usually allocate to purely technical skills or just more cognitive learning, where does your effort best serve your future success, your future impact? Something to think about.
A great question to end on.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.